20 years since I've been living here in Canada, and it wasn't until a subscriber reminded me that I remembered how much I love Tom Yum soup. Now, my memories of this soup does not come from Thailand, although I did visit Thailand. My memories of this delicious soup actually comes from Dubai. That's where I used to work and live and used to have this amazing soup. Now, Dubai in a lot of ways is a very cosmopolitan city, just like Toronto. We're really lucky that we have people from all over the world that bring their amazing recipes and allow the rest of us to try them. Tom Yum is one of those soups that really satisfies you. It has the perfect blend of Thai spices, from the sweet, the salty, the spicy, and the sour. Everything comes together to make this amazing soup. Now, of course, there are many different versions of Tom Yum. You can get the chicken version or the vegetarian version, but today we're gonna make shrimp, my favorite. This is the literal translation. Tom means to boil. Yam refers to ingredients that's typically used in a Thai salad, and Goong just means shrimp or prawn. This soup is going to satisfy your soul. Toronto is a melting pot of cultures, and it's really easy to find a lot of the ingredients that you need to make this soup. Ingredients like galangal, lemongrass, Thai chili, and Kaffir lime leaves. Now, sometimes it's difficult to get them fresh, but whenever I get them fresh, I make sure to freeze all of the extra ingredients so I have it on hand whenever I need to make a batch of this delicious soup. We're going to start this soup with an amazing shrimp stock. Now, I make my own shrimp stock. It's really easy to do. I collect all of the shells from my prawn or shrimp, and when I have enough, all I do is saute it in a little bit of oil and I let it boil in water. What happens is all of that delicious, intense shrimp flavor is transferred from those shells into that stock. When I have my stock ready to go, I simply freeze it and I have it on hand whenever I need it. Now, if you don't have homemade stock, you can go ahead and try to find fish stock. You can even use vegetable stock or even chicken stock if you're fine with it. But what I wouldn't recommend is just using plain water. Once my shrimp stock is boiling, I'm going to add a few other ingredients. I'm going to add 1 stick of lemongrass. Now, I've just cut the tops and the bottoms of this lemongrass, and I'm basically just going to pound it with the back of my knife to release all of that beautiful flavor. I'm going to cut it into large chunks and I'm going to throw it right into my stock pot. Next, I'm going to throw in some Kaffir lime leaves. Now, these are beautiful lime leaves. When you look at them, they look like they're double on a stalk. I'm simply going to separate them and I'm going to throw them right into my stock pot as well. I'm also going to add some galangal. Now, galangal looks a lot like ginger, but it doesn't taste so much like ginger. It has more of a very lemongrassy, citrusy flavor. I'm just going to cut off about a thumb-sized piece of galangal, cut it into slices, and throw that into my stock pot as well. And finally, I'm going to add some Thai Red Chillies. These are beautiful and vibrant. I'm just going to slice them up and throw them in. I'm going to let everything boil for about 5 minutes. I'm going to let all of those flavors infuse into that shrimp stock, all of that lemongrass, galangal, the Kaffir lime leaves, and that Thai chili. At the end of 5 minutes, I'm going to uncover my pot and I'm going to fish all of those ingredients out. Now, a lot of people like to leave some of those ingredients, at least the lime leaves and the chilies, in as a garnish, but I find that it discolors quite a bit after it's done extracting all of that beautiful flavor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add garnish in at the end. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. Fish sauce adds saltiness to the soup. Now, this is used in a lot of Thai preparations, even if the recipe doesn't call for any fish or seafood. So if you have a seafood allergy, you need to be aware of that. You need to ask your server if they've used fish sauce in the recipe. If you don't want to use fish sauce, you can substitute light soya sauce instead. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of palm sugar. Palm sugar gives a beautiful, subtle flavor to the soup. Now, this usually comes in a puck. I'm literally going to take my knife and just shave off a little bit and throw that into my soup. Next, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of shrimp paste. Now, this is a very important ingredient in a Tom Yum Goong. This is what is going to give that beautiful shrimpy flavor on top of that shrimp stock. This adds a little bit extra. Now, this is made with dried shrimp. This particular shrimp paste is not used in other preparations. So if you make tom yum with chicken, you would basically just use a chili paste that is floating in bean oil. In Thai cuisine, they'll use a lot of coriander from the roots to the stems and the leaves. I'm simply going to separate the leaves from the stems, and I'm going to leave the leaves aside for later. The stems I'm going to chop up very fine, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon into my soup. Now this is going to add a beautiful crunch, but also some incredible flavor. Next, I'm going to add some mushrooms. I love mushrooms, and I'm just going to add regular button mushrooms. Now I love to slice them horizontally. I think it looks really, really pretty. You can add any mushrooms that you like. I know typically in a tom yum, I've seen them use straw mushrooms a lot. I prefer to use Enoki mushrooms. I think they're really, really pretty, and also when they cook down, they basically look like little noodles in the soup, and they're also really satisfying. To give my soup a little bit of body and some incredible taste, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of coconut milk, and I'm going to mix that in. Now I have my shrimp prepared and ready to go. Now here's the advantage of making this soup at home. I've got about 300 to 400 grams of shrimp. I love shrimp, and so does the rest of my family, so I would like to put in as much shrimp as possible into my soup. That's the advantage of making it at home. When you go to a restaurant, you're lucky if you even find 2 shrimp in your bowl of tom yum. But I'm just going to load this up. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to cook up some full tiger prawns. Now this has the head on and the shell and everything. I'm actually going to cook this in with the soup so I can use it as a garnish. It looks really pretty at the top. But I want to make sure that it's cleaned. So here's how you clean a tiger shrimp if you have the head on and the shell. You basically take a scissors and you poke it into where the head meets the body, and you simply cut along the side of the body. Now once you've cut through the shell, you're actually going to see the vein. It's going to cut through the skin and you're going to see the vein. That is basically the intestines of the shrimp. Now there's lots of theories out there. Some people say that it doesn't really make you sick, but I've really heard stories about people that have got really sick from eating shrimp that has not been cleaned. So I'm going to make sure that all of my shrimp has been deveined and it's ready to go. If your shrimp have long antennae, just use a scissor and cut that off. Now I'm ready to cook my shrimp, but I don't want to overcook it. So what I'm going to do is bring my soup liquid to a boil. Then I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to put all of my shrimp in there, just the regular tiger shrimp that's already been peeled and deveined, as well as the whole shrimp that has the head on and the shell. I've also cleaned and deveined that. I'm going to put everything into my stock pot. I'm going to make sure it's immersed in the liquid. I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to let this cook for 10 minutes. Now it's going to cook in the residual heat of the soup. And what's going to happen is it's going to cook the shrimp. It's actually going to poach the shrimp, and it's going to be perfectly cooked. It's not going to be overdone, and it's not going to be rubbery. Before serving, I'm going to squeeze in some fresh lime juice. This is going to add a beautiful sour element to the soup. And also, you don't want to add lime juice too early because it tends to cook and it's not as good. I'm also going to add some fresh red Thai chili, Kaffir lime leaves, and some coriander leaves for garnish. This soup is best prepared and served right away because it has a lot of fresh ingredients that could possibly wilt over time. But if there are leftovers, which is very rare, I would really love to take it to work the next day for a really satisfying lunch. Thank you so much for joining me on Cravings Food Adventures. Thank you to my subscriber for reminding me how much I love Yum Goong. I have really enjoyed making this soup. Don't forget to subscribe to Cravings Food Adventures because I upload new videos every week, and you want to make sure that you're there so you're the first to see it. And don't forget to follow me on all of my social channels. There's a lot of behind the scenes things going on. Make sure that you're following me on my Facebook page, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and Snapchat. Until I see you next time, do take care. Happy eating.